What's up YouTube, Sean Forney here. This is a little bit of an add-on. I'm going to put it at the beginning of my towing in the TRX video, but as you can see, I'm towing a load. I think it's probably just over 5,000 pounds. So again, this is to prove that for any doubters out there, the TRX is fully capable of towing its its weight, and I have towed just slightly over that weight at one point, and it did it fine. The only thing you have to be concerned about is braking, if your trailer brakes are adequate enough. So stay tuned. Quick little video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. All right, so here she is. For those that don't know my channel, we have a farm here in West Virginia. Way too much stuff. We have horses, miniature Scottish Highland cattle, a pig, and chickens. So that means that I have to do a lot of towing with my trucks. So I used to have a Super Duty F350, but I just didn't feel like I needed that big of a truck. And for the most part, a TRX, a Raptor, Raptor R, whatever you want, I've had them all. They do a good job. The only thing you'll notice that, the suspension is soft, so you get that sag. And part of that is because this load is a little awkward, so I couldn't get the weight squared up over the axles. It had to go right here because I'm a big fan of utility trailers with size versus an equipment trailer. I just overthink things, and I have taken some of the straps off. Those two are the last straps that I need to get off. But I have a load of hemlock here. And if I had to guess, again, I think it's probably just over 5,000 pounds. We're using this for some of our horse fencing that we're working on. But again, just a quick little video on my thoughts on towing with a TRX. Again, this is normal. It would look a little bit better if I had the load centered, but again, with the utility sides and the forklift and everything, that is as best as a place that we could get it. I only went like 35 miles like this. I drove slow, so it's perfectly fine. Trailer brakes turned up a little bit. It's fine. Now, one thing I will recommend getting, I have an adjustable bulletproof hitch, okay? So, originally when we put this load on, it was sagging a little too much because, again, it's a little front heavy here. And so we used the forklift, lifted this up. I brought it up on its highest setting because usually I have it down here. Usually I don't tow stuff that's all too awfully heavy, 3,000 pounds or something like that. So I don't need to raise it all the way up. But this load is a little heavy on the front, a little more tongue weight than what I would like. Again, it's an awkward load. It's tall. It's in front of the axles. Usually whenever I'm towing stuff, you center the weight over your axles. You can tell that that's not centered. But again, for what it's worth, for those that have questions on if it's capable of towing, it absolutely is capable of towing. Get yourself a decent trailer, get yourself some good trailer brakes, get yourself a good hitch, and you're in business, okay? So again, thank you guys for watching. The rest of the video is coming right now. What's up YouTube, Sean Forney here. Gonna do a quick little video of towing in a Ram TRX. So this is my third TRX. I had 2021, 2022, and 2023. This one is a Lunar Edition, but I traded in my Raptor R on this, and one of the biggest considerations that I had was the Raptor R and this. I mean, truck for truck, they are pretty comparable. They are pretty equally stacked. From someone that has both of them, for the price point of a new Raptor, again, I prefer the TRX. But now let's get back to towing. I think the new Raptor R tows maybe 200 pounds more, 8,000 and 8,200, something along those lines. I typically tow a trailer every weekend. You can see back there, it's a little bouncy, but I am towing my trailer now. It's a 14,000 pound trailer, derated down to 10,000 pounds, so I don't have to mess with anything CDL related. But I typically am hauling my diesel Kubota zero turn, a side-by-side, maybe my Kubota RTV 1100C, four-wheelers, whatever the case is. But at any given time, whenever I'm pulling my trailer, I'm probably pulling, I don't know, call it 5,000, 5,500 pounds. I will add a caveat that I did tow over the weight limit in my TRX one time, a short distance, 12 miles, to move my skid steer. My skid steer typically doesn't leave my house, but I had to do some bucket work at one of the properties that I own. So I did tow it, and it did fine. As long as you got the load centered over the axles, this thing is fine. It has trailer brakes, so it does a good job. Now, what I would say, the TRX does an adequate job. Obviously, it has the power, it has the torque, these transmissions are fine. You know, the suspension, given that it's got such a large, clean, you know, travel in the suspension, for what it is, you know, it's a little bouncy, you know, whenever you're towing, but that's, you know, I expect that. I don't expect it to be a smooth ride. But anytime, you know, I wouldn't want to haul 5,000 or 6,000 pounds without trailer brakes. I would say probably not. But, you know, with the trailer brakes, the load in your trailer equally distributed how it should be, the thing does a really, really good job. It's bumpy occasionally, but it's not unbearable. On the interstate, it's great. I've towed cars before. I towed a truck before, you know, with the TRX. And overall, I mean, I'm not disappointed at all. Are you restricted a little bit with the weight? Yeah, but who's really in a TRX going to be towing that? Maybe if you had a dump trailer loaded down, I guess. But for the average Joe like myself that's going to be hauling tractors or skids, you know, well, the occasional skid steer. If you had a lighter skid steer, I mean, I was just over the weight limit by like 500 pounds. So, you know, and it was a pretty heavy skid steer. But, you know, if you're hauling side-by-sides and four-wheelers and your mowers and all that other stuff, the TRX is absolutely 100% fully capable of doing that without issue. I do like the fact that it does, you know, still have the blind spot detection with the trailer. The Fords do not do that. On all of my trucks that I've recently owned, I do have the trailer reverse steering. I've never used it, not one time. I guess maybe at some point I might use it just to see how cool it is, but I'm a typical male specimen. If I'm hauling a trailer, I'm going to back it up myself because that's part of the pride, right? If you're a man and you have your wife in your car or your truck and you're towing a trailer, you want to show her that you still got what it takes to put that trailer exactly where it goes. And I pride myself on it. I actually took delivery of a car. The guy was hauling a 30-foot enclosed car trailer. He couldn't back it up at my house. We have a farm. We get big deliveries all the time. And I said, let me get in there and do it. He barely spoke English, but he let me do it. Piece of cake. We got it turned around, and he was on his way after he unloaded the car. So I pull a trailer probably once a week during the summer, less frequently during the winter. But overall, the Raptor has, sorry, it's only been a couple weeks. The TRX, rather, has the power. The suspension, while a little bouncy, it's perfectly fine. It's, you know, it just does, you know, does whatever you want it to. So again, you know, I always go back to one of the main reasons. You know, a lot of people are like, hey, why would you buy a truck that's $112,000? Well, for me, it comes down to resale. Whenever I'm done with this truck, I can get more money than if I had just bought a regular F-150 Lariat or something like that. These trucks hold their value better. So I think if there's a place that I want to park my money for a period of time. Now, I will also say, the third Raptor, out of my two Raptors that I no longer have, and the Raptor R, I am to the plus side about $40,000 in those transactions. So getting them, using them for a year, using them for 2 years for my first TRX. The Raptor was only probably about a month, but I'm $40,000 to the positive. So when people ask me that question, going over a bridge, little bumpy. But when people ask me that question, I just point it back to, listen, I don't really lose money on these trucks. If I had a typical F-150 Lariat and I put 30,000 miles on it, you bet your sweet rear end I'm losing money on that transaction. I'm going to be on the losing side of a deal. Now, you know, I typically have enough equity that I roll into them. I'm never worried about necessarily being upside down per se. But as you know, even my first Raptor, it was a 2018 Leadfoot Gray, had almost 80,000 miles when we traded it in. We traded it in for like $4,000 less than what we paid for it after 4 years. There is not many trucks on the market, maybe some diesels or something along those lines, but there's not many trucks on the market that you can put 80,000 miles on and only pay $1,000 per year to drive that truck. It just doesn't happen. So that is always my, I guess, thought process whenever I'm buying this. You know, yeah, the payments might be high, or whatever the case is. I never pay cash for these trucks. I don't like the thought of having so much cash tied up. Some of my toys, you know, the Supra, the RX-7s or whatever, the M3s, yeah, I pay cash for them. You know, that's fine. I don't ever have them for too awfully long, but I play with them until I'm done with them. But these trucks, now the interest rates are higher. That may be a consideration, but even then, I'd rather let 30, 40 grand go down on them and just have a payment of, you know, 1,200 bucks or whatever the case is. So, but again, back to the whole point of the video, if you were buying a TRX and you have concerns about towing, you can see this has been a pleasant drive, you know, bouncy going over a bridge and maybe bouncy in a couple spots. But overall, the TRX is more than capable to tow anything that you wanted to. If you had a small travel trailer or camper, I think it would be really fine. If you don't plan on off-roading much, you can certainly put airbags in it if you're worried about that. But again, for a guy like me that's towing around a 20-foot utility trailer and hauling around 5,000, 6,000 pounds, including the weight of the trailer, there's no worries ever whenever I'm towing this thing. If you want to pull your car or truck on a trailer, or your race car or race truck on a trailer, no concerns whatsoever. So if you guys are out there looking at a TRX or a Raptor for that matter, I mean, I towed with my Raptor R, I towed, you know, once a week with my EcoBoost Raptor. If you're in the market for any of these high performance trucks and you have a concern about towing, unless you plan on going over the 8,000 or 8,200 pounds all the time, yeah, then maybe this truck isn't for you. But if you're an average Joe, pulling a car, pulling a truck, pulling a utility trailer with side-by-sides and four-wheelers and dirt bikes on it, pulling a dump trailer, whatever the case is, guys, you don't have to worry about it. The truck is more than capable to do that. It does it very comfortably. It does it safely. So that's really the whole purpose of this video, guys. I hooked up the trailer and figured I haven't ever done a towing review on these things, but you can, listen to that supercharger. You can still mash on it and it still has plenty of get up and go, plenty of power. And I think probably now with the weight of the trailer on there, I don't know, probably hovering right around 5,000 pounds back there. But it does it with ease. And it's, you know, and again, I'll mention one other thing. Whenever I had my last TRX, I pretty much realized whether I was city driving, highway driving, or towing my trailer, I pretty much averaged out to like 9.8 miles per gallon. It never changed because I leave my Trip 2 on 0, you know, the day I bought it, whether it had 15 miles on it, 20 miles on it, whatever the case is. And Trip 1 is the one that I reset every time I fill up. 9.8 miles per gallon, that's what I averaged. It didn't matter what I did, how I drove it, beat the heck out of it, launched it 10 times, it did not matter. So, but again, if you're buying a TRX or a Raptor R or a Raptor and you're worried about fuel economy, this is not the truck for you. Go buy a Ford F-150 Power Boost or something like that, or a hybrid, whatever, a Rivian. So if you're worried about fuel economy, you don't want one of these trucks. So, but anyway, guys, thank you for watching this quick video. If you guys have any questions or comments on, you know, anything specific about what it's like towing with the TRX or Raptor R, I can talk about all of those three. I've had them all. Comment below. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned and have a great day.